while DOJ touts its cuts to the federal government, the people being cut are speaking out, especially veterans, because yes, those cuts are disproportionately affecting vets. Federal data shows last year vets made up 28% of the federal workforce. Vets like James Diaz. James is an Army veteran who served during the first Gulf War. He voted for President Trump 3 times. He was fired last month from his job as a fuel compliance officer with the IRS at one of their field offices in Illinois. His termination letter implied that his job performance was a factor, but Diaz disputes this claim, saying all his performance reviews were positive. Diaz will be attending Trump's speech before Congress tomorrow night as a guest of his congressman, Illinois Democratic Representative Eric Sorensen. And he joins us now. Mr. Diaz, thank you for joining us today, James. You say you were treated like garbage. Walk us through what happened to you last month.
On the 20th of February, I received a phone call from my supervisor and then a email shortly thereafter about how I was going to be terminated. And it basically cited my performance issues.
But you provided us with a performance review, and it said you were a good worker with a good knowledge of tax law. So why would they cite that as an issue?
I think it was just basically a cookie cutter email to send out. I don't think they thought it through very well at all. And I think I'm a perfect example of why they didn't think it through. How
did that make you feel when you realized that?
It didn't make me feel very good. I mean, I put myself in harm's way, for the country. I took a pretty good pay cut to come to work for the government. And next thing you know, 8 months later, I was basically feel like I'm not good enough to, now I know better than that, but that's just how it seems to feel.
I mean, it is very disruptive. It's hurtful. It's probably a shock to the system as well. I mean, you voted for President Trump, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Did you anticipate that this might happen or regret your vote at all?
No, I don't necessarily regret my vote. I think the options that we had on both sides were, I think we could have had better choices on both sides. But for me, with what's going on here, my performance reviews all meets or exceeds. My bosses were very happy with me finding work to do, even if they didn't have something for me immediately. And with my particular job, between education, training, and compliance checks, we were able to recover far more revenue than the cost of keeping me employed.
So when you think about the premise of DOJ and that it's trying to root out fraud and wasteful spending, do you think that this approach will get to that with your particular job or your agency?
Well, I think with all large agencies, there's going to be some people who underperform, and I believe there is some fraud, waste, and abuse. But I don't think that they're doing a very good job of finding out exactly what needs to be cut. I think they're just taking like the chainsaw to it instead of doing some critical thinking and doing some investigations to see exactly what is good and what is bad. Just letting it all go instead.
Will this impact how you vote in the midterms?
We'll have to see what's going on. Yeah, it's going to impact how I vote in the midterms, yes.
In what way?
Well, I'm going to see exactly who's going to try to help fight for the workers, for veterans. I want the best for this country, no matter who's in charge.
You're going to be attending Trump's speech tomorrow night, I understand, with your congressman. What are you looking to hear from the president?
I'm just looking to see what his plan is going forward, how we can all make this a better country for everybody who's living in it. I really don't know what to expect, or even if it's going to do. I'm just really unsure what to expect. I've never been to one, and frankly, I'm not expecting much results on my end. I mean, for me in particular, but I'm honored that Congressman Sorensen invited me to go, and I'm going to be happy to be there.
You've served our country. You are a veteran. What's next for you now that you've lost this job?
Well, I have a pretty good resume, but right now it's, I got my college education after I was 50. I worked in factory leadership in a few places. But right now, I think I'm just going to go back to probably having to drive a truck for a little while. There's nothing wrong with that. People make good money. I helped put my wife through college doing it. So I'm probably going to go back to that for a while and try to see what happens.
Mr. James Diaz, thank you for joining tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, ma'am. You have a great evening.
You too.